Day. How are
Yes.
you?
I am good. I'm happy it's Friday.
I know,
It's been a
right?
long
Yeah.
week.
You have had a very long week. You have what, 5 cases that you're doing right now?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
have a lot on my plate, and
I
working on a new
know.
one that I'll keep people posted once it's filed.
Yeah, yeah. I when I say cases, I just think like, all of the things that you guys have going on, like all your advocacy
Yeah.
that you have to keep track of, right? You keep track of all of it, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I have a few that I'm sort of actively working on, which is a lot for one lawyer.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
I know. Especially like because it's so in depth, like the filings and everything that you have to do.
yeah,
It's not like even the criminal defense attorney that I worked for, he would have, sometimes I mean, well, actually well over 100 cases open at any time, but most of it's just kind of going through the motions, going through the wheel until you
yeah,
get to essentially the trial phase, right?
yeah,
Which is in North Carolina years in the making.
yeah.
So, uh
Yeah, in most cases don't get to trial, so
right. Yeah.
yeah.
So we are back. We are taking a break. I'm taking a break from the civil war on the right that is currently raging. Um, and if you guys have been following this, it's pretty nuts what's going on. I think a lot of people are really exposing themselves. For those who don't know, on I believe it was Wednesday, Politico released a hit piece that was basically, well, it wasn't basically, they had received leaked text messages. It was about 9 months worth of text messages from a Telegram group chat for the Young Republicans, which is across a couple state lines, and a couple different state chapters, and it was 2,900 pages worth of messages. It was thousands and thousands of messages, and of course they combed through it and then pulled things out of it. And now there are people on the right who all happen to be raging Zionists. And yes, that does come into play here in a second, and you'll see, who are demanding that others on the right basically kind of attack these kids and denounce them and denounce what they call like the fringe right. They say it's getting out of control. They
And
want to
the message is to back up a little bit. So there was like some anti-Semitic content. There was
no,
also
no, there
there
was
wasn't
not.
okay. I didn't read
To
the
my knowledge.
I saw some of the text about the watermelon people, so they were making fun of like Palestine supporters clearly.
Right.
Um
I want to bring up. I'm going to bring up the actual picture of what they did. Um, so here we go. I'll share it with you because this is the one that they're really upset with, right? Um, boom. So right here, and it says, so it's somebody who says, yeah, I had some back and forth with the VC in Michigan. Current chair is a deer in headlights. They said, I have a call Wednesday. Someone replied, said, many agree. Original person says, he did say, my delegates I will bring vote for the most right wing person. Other person replies, great. I love Hitler. So this is clearly
a jo-
sarcasm.
yeah.
Right. It's very clearly, if you're saying,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna bring the most far right person I can find, and it's like, well, great, I love Hitler, right?
Yeah.
Because of course, for years the left has been saying anybody to the right of oh, I don't know, Chuck Schumer is basically a Nazi, right? He's literally Hitler.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they're going to make jokes about that, right?
Yeah.
Again, last year, in I believe it was August 2024, New Republic magazine literally put a picture of Donald Trump on their cover with the Hitler mustache and said, I believe it was like Mein Fuhrer or something like that. So, yeah, of course, you call people like Donald Trump Hitler, eventually people are just going to make jokes about it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's the one that they're trying to say is essentially these kids are saying they love Hitler. They're
Like if
literally saying,
that's
yeah,
insane. Anybody who
yeah,
can't tell that's sarcasm is
it's an idiot,
yeah, is an idiot.
right? And these people
Or
aren't
if they
idiots.
think like it's a problem I mean, whatever, in a private chat, like, okay, so what?
Right.
You know?
It's clearly a joke. Like, clearly.
Yeah.
Apparently, there were other, Politico said there were 251 instances in which, out of 2,900 pages, in which somebody said retarded, or they said fag, or they said the N word with the A and not the hard R. Again, not something I've tried to stop saying retarded. I know.
It's my favorite insult. I have to admit, it's so un-PC.
But I know it is, but then again, I would never call a mentally handicapped person that. Like, I would never, ever in a million years, you know?
Yes.
But I have tried to stop saying that. I don't call people, the F word or whatever. And I certainly don't ever use the N word, even jokingly or anything like that. So again, not my kind of language, but you're in a group chat 251 times. I'm willing to bet that the overwhelming majority of those were them saying retarded. Okay. Yeah. And, out of 2,900 pages, I said, I did the math on it. It was once every 11.7 pages that one of those words popped up. It's just like, it's not, come on, right?
Not,
yeah. And they,
no, go ahead.
So people like Ben Shapiro, basically just all of the
woke
Seth
right.
Dillon. Yes.
the real
woke right. Yeah. Seth Dillon, James Lindsay, all these just like psychotic Zionists, right? Who hate anyone, even in like the outer realm of like Nick Fuentes. But everybody who doesn't love Israel is literally Nick Fuentes to them, right? that is their litmus right there. You either love Israel or you are Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes.
Yeah. And so that's and they're basically having these very public struggle sessions with mostly Matt Walsh, who, is, I'm not like a super big fan of Matt Walsh, to be quite honest with you.
I can't stand him on most topics, but occasionally I'm like, he says something like pretty good, but but then most of the time, I would say 90% of what he says I hate, and then 10% I really like.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he just talks about a bunch of dumb shit. And so I don't really care either way about what he's talking about. I mean, sometimes he'll make good points, but for the most part, I feel like he beats a lot of dead horses, and he doesn't really talk about things that truly, really matter. He definitely has been a coward on the whole like Israel lobby thing.
Yeah, because you can tell he sees it and he doesn't like it, but he won't really come out and say it, because he'll say like a couple tepid things, but he doesn't. But yeah, I really didn't like what he did after Charlie Kirk's death. I thought that was a really horrible thing to do. Basically, saying this is the left and we're at war with the left. And I just don't think it's a good, if you're a big public figure like that, to be stoking outrage and calling for basically civil war, especially absent evidence that Charlie Kirk was really killed by a radical leftist. And then like to blame the entire left for that is also kind of insane. Just like when... when a neo-Nazi, or I don't know, whatever, and then it's like all white people are a problem or something like that. It's like
right. Well, I think what we saw with that, a lot of it is that you have these commentators, these influencers on the right, especially, who they just won't touch the whole Israel lobby thing. They won't touch any of the kind of subservience that our representatives show to this foreign nation. They don't want to touch any of that. And so they had really kind of ran out of stuff to talk about. The trans thing is kind of, I don't want to say it's like died down. Obviously it's still there, but it's like the one thing they couldn't talk about. And then so when Charlie Kirk comes around and, it's a leftist, then it's like it almost reinvigorated them. And they, now had all these crazy new things to talk about. Except, of course, we know now that Tyler Robinson certainly could not be described as some kind of like psychotic leftist. I mean, there's no evidence to suggest that.
No. So, other than the trans furry lover.
Right, the trans, which is weird, and that dude is like disappeared.
Yeah, I so don't believe the official story around that, but that's another topic. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but
I mean, I think Tyler Robinson is certainly involved, but in some way, shape, or form. But I don't buy any of the crap that they've been selling us, and I've just been picking it apart all week long. Just basic details, going through one by one, picking it apart This stuff, it just doesn't, the math doesn't math on that.
Yeah.
So, but what we've seen with this Civil War stuff is that, so my whole thing is I will not be lectured to about civility, about what is proper discourse, what we must condone and condemn. I will not be lectured to about stuff like that from people who align with Randy Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
No, sorry, not going to do that. You can take your opinion, you can shove it straight up your, okay? Because that's where it belongs. We have seen from Zionists, especially hardcore neocon Zionists, whether they're Christian, Jewish, or secular, some of the most psychotic rhetoric imaginable. Stuff that would have probably made Hitler blush, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. I mean, some of this stuff is so nuts. I literally just retweeted this guy, Han Shanadi, in which one of his posts reads, Palestinians are the most evil, rotten, violent, savage, barbaric, sadistic, and depraved society in the history of the world. They have zero redeeming qualities. Every time I think I hate them enough, they give me reasons to despise them even more. That's nuts.
That's nuts.
You know, if you said that about anyone else, you would be canceled forever, right?
Yeah.
If you inserted Jews in there, if you inserted Israelis in there, that crazy bitch with the stop anti-Semitism thing, she would literally not stop until she had your
she
job.
would ruin your life, and she would successfully, because you would never be able to say that if you said it about Black people or any other person. It's
no one else.
The thing that outrages me the most is, of course, this is the line that they use, that kind of thing, the death cult thing. A couple of the neocons I know, they're a death cult. This is, of course, what you have to do to justify what's being done to the Palestinians. But the Palestinian culture is the most peaceful, kind, warm culture ever. I mean, that's why you don't hear of Palestinian violence prior to 1948, prior to them being driven out of their homes and massacred by the Zionist militias. So it's so outrageous. It's just, sorry.
No, it's insane. We don't have, some kind of outbreak of Palestinian violence here in the US or anything like that. It's so absurd. The dehumanization that has been allowed to happen, and I had never really paid attention to it, and I regret that. I'm ashamed to say that I had just kind of ignored it or whatnot, or just kind of dismissed it. And once you see it and you really start looking at it and you really start listening to it, it is it's very unsettling. It's very disturbing how far we have allowed this to go. Right? I mean, you can't say I don't know. I mean, I get accused of anti-Semitism on a daily basis, right? And I don't even really say anything that crazy.
We all do. So.
Right. I mean, but it's every single day I'm getting accused of being an anti-Semite for something, because I hate Israel, because I think that Israel, should be excommunicated. I think that they should become a pariah state. And whatnot. I don't want anything to do with them in my country. So I'm people will say that I'm an anti-Semite because I say that, and then they'll turn around and just say some of the, that same guy, he posted a picture of a devil, and he said, what did he say? Because it's pretty nuts too. He says, here, I'll share it, so you guys can see. There you go. Scientists were able to trace back the genetic origins of the Palestinians using sophisticated DNA technology. They estimate he may have looked something like this. So again, if you said this about Jews, holy crap, the world would stop, right?
Well, and think about, do you remember the little boy who was killed two years ago, Wadi Al-Fayumi, the 6-year-old who was stabbed to death by his landlord? I mean, absolutely horrendous, The poor little kid had gone up to his psychotic Zionist landlord to give him a hug, and he was Palestinian, and the landlord stabbed him to death, stabbed him 20 times or something, stabbed his mother dozens of times. I mean, it got a little press, but it wasn't,
Right.
it did not make waves. Can you imagine if that boy had been Jewish, had been stabbed by a Palestinian, or even if he'd just been a white little boy?
Yep.
The outrage would be just, and Laura Loomer would be calling for the deportation of every.
We would have laws. We would have laws written in that child's name.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
Right? We'd have some kind of watch list named after him, some kind of alert system going on. Here's another one. Max Nordau, old Maxi Pad. He said, what is the point of rebuilding Gaza? And Han Shanadi said, there is none. Palestinians behave like Neanderthal cavemen, so they deserve to live like Neanderthal cavemen until they learn how to behave like a civilized people, if that is even possible for them. Not a single structure should be built in that shithole. Wall off that entire strip and turn it into the North Sentinel Island. I mean, okay. Like, what the, So, anyways, these are the people trying to scold us about how we should not be aligning with crazies on the far right.
He has like 27,000 followers. Like, he's not a nobody on Twitter.
Nope. And so that was his, the whole thing that prompted me was that he said, I'd rather lose than unite with the alt-right. We barely have anything in common anyways. That's true. I don't have anything in common with this asshole. And I'd like to put that on the record. He is, in fact, right there. We have nothing in common with him. He says, I'm a constitutional conservative. They're authoritarians and Islam simps. Yourself, dude. I will never be a part of a coalition with them. They're antithetical to everything I believe in. And that's because he's, in fact, a Jewish supremacist. And so the alt-right, which is, of course, I don't even know if you'd call them alt-right. I don't necessarily consider myself alt-right by any means. I'm America First, certainly. And I actually don't believe in racial supremacy of any sort. So, no, I don't have anything in common with them. And, I will never unite with people who talk like that or people who think it's okay to talk about certain groups of people like that. Period. We're just not. I've listened to many a grouper chats, grouper talks. Nick Fuentes, to my knowledge, has never said anything as psychotic as what that dude says on literally a regular basis.
No.
Literally a regular basis. Yeah.
I mean,
never
Nick
said
Fuentes,
anything even close. He said very controversial things. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, he says some but nothing that hateful.
No. Yeah. And so again, people trying to salvage this or have these kind of struggle sessions with these people like this, I'm like, go F yourself, essentially. Yeah. When Ben Shapiro is congratulating Randy Fine and then lecturing others about who we let into the party. No, just sit down. Yeah. Sit down, shut up. Don't ever want to hear from you again. Okay.
Yep. So how's the ceasefire going? Should we do an update on that?
Yes, we should. I actually don't. I do know that they have started bombing Lebanon again. The thing that people need to really realize is that Israel, they have to have war. Like, they just have to.
Yeah.
A lot of their economy is based on this. All of the aid that they receive, we back all of their debt. We buy their bonds. And so if they are kind of not in this constant struggle, this constant state of like, oh my God, the Jewish state is about to be overcome, I imagine it's probably harder to sell a lot of the stuff that they need to, the bonds and things like that, but also the, get all of this extra aid for military equipment. I am not surprised at all. We have a budget. They have not passed the NDAA separately. So we are having, of course, we're now about to enter the third week of the budget struggle. And so I was actually surprised that they even agreed to the ceasefire, because that could potentially put their funding, I know this is me being wishful thinking, but technically it could potentially put it into play, right? Will we give them this extra? Because right now I believe we are slated to give them like $80 million for tunnel research. For those who don't know, we started in 2021, we started sending them $50 million a year. This is totally separate from the memorandum of understanding stuff, the 3.3 billion that we already sent. We started sending $50 million a year for tunnel excavation, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
What it's just $50 million just up in smoke, But now this year it was up to $80 million. That was courtesy of Joe Wilson, I believe it is, down in South Carolina. He's the one that really advocated for that. So no doubt there's some kind of kickback there for him. But also there are other things going on. So I believe that the extra, I think it was 6 or 8 billion. I don't know. Somebody in the chat maybe can correct me on that if I'm wrong on it, as far as how much they were going to be secured. So this is, of course, in addition to the 3.3 billion that they already had. So I was surprised that they would even agree to the ceasefire during, close to the shutdown when their funding had not been secured. And now we see them bombing Lebanon again.
Yeah.
We have, I believe there's a tracker going on. I want to say that the last time I looked at it, which was yesterday, there was 175 people in Israel that had been, or in Gaza that had been murdered by some sort of IDF force. And then of course they also have the gangs that Netanyahu had been supplying for starting back in June. So for those who don't know, the GHF, which was the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, was used as aid to, a plan of it was to use the aid to lure Hamas out, right? Then some of it, they were just firing on people. The IDF was literally just firing on people. But another thing that they were doing was actually using these rival gangs within Gaza to hunt down members of Hamas, right? So as they would come out, they would then track them back, right? Because they were the only ones that could do that. And so the IDF was literally giving these ISIS-aligned gangs bombs, like grenades, guns, AK-47s. I mean, it's insane. So here's the problem. This is what's nuts, right? So they gave them shit tons of ammo, tons of weaponry. Okay. Now that Hamas isn't fighting the IDF anymore because they pulled out, they have started fighting these rival gangs. And what's happening? They're taking over the stockpiles of weapons that were given to them by Israel. So now Hamas is actually rearming. They have tons of weapons now from Israel.
Wow.
So when you hear this whole, it's so terrible. Look at what Hamas is doing. They're hunting down all of these other Gazans, Palestinians. They're executing people in the streets. Well, they're executing traitors, and you can think that's wrong or right. I again, not my government. Yeah. And my government isn't directly supplying them. I can see it from both sides. Obviously, I believe in due process and things like that, right? Yeah. But it's such a shit show. Not even going to go there. Yeah, so exactly. No one should be surprised that these things are happening. Yeah. But yeah, that's what they're trying to sell us on. Oh my God, look at, the poor Palestinians. Now, of course, everybody cares about Palestinians getting executed in the street. All
the Zionists are, the poor Palestinians, yeah.
Right. Yeah, but no, the real thing is that they are actually taking hold of these massive weapon stockpiles that have been given to these gangs, and they're nervous now, right? Wow. So that's why Trump kind of did the 180 on that stuff. That's why that's where this is all coming from, and it's a shit show. It is.
Yeah. And I mean, Netanyahu's going around saying he's basically saying in Hebrew to his audience that he's planning to not follow through. So we all know, that this is not a real ceasefire. I mean, especially because Israel is still attacking Palestinians and killing them. But yeah, and I mean, what they did to the people on the flotilla was just, it's unbelievable. So mad. I'm a little surprised they went that far with Greta Thunberg. And some of the others. I mean, she attested to really being sexually humiliated, basically tortured. Yeah. And a lot of Israel supporters were saying that didn't happen. And then Ben Gvir came out yesterday. Did you see that tweet? Nuts. And he was like, oh yeah, no, we did. That's what we do to terrorists, because anybody who tries to get food to Palestinians is a terrorist, of course. Yeah. He's fucking psycho. excuse my language. The other big irony is Ben Gvir is actually a convicted terrorist. He's been convicted of terrorist-related crimes like multiple times. And apparently, I think you and I were talking about this. Like the indictments for his crimes were so long that some guys they were trying to print it out for something. They said they ran out of printer paper.
It's like hundreds of pages.
Yeah. So
this
is, I mean, these are the people who think they have the right to go around calling other people terrorists.
It's again, it just goes back to these are actual racial supremacists. They do believe that they are superior to others.
And they just call, and Palestinians are terrorists. That's they literally just say that because they're Palestinian.
Right. If you're not a Nazi, you're a terrorist. If you're on the right, you're either, so if you are not a Palestinian, you are a Nazi. And if you are a Palestinian, then you're a terrorist. Or I should say if you're an Arab.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. At least an anti-Semite if you're not an Arab. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I don't know who that crap works on anymore.
I don't think a lot, just boomers. Boomers.
Boomers. Yeah, and then
I mean, when you look at the polls with the younger people, it's crazy. It's like under 50, like they've lost so much support, but then under 30, I was looking at the numbers. I forgot the exact stats, but it's just, they basically have no support among under 30s of any political persuasion. So that, TikTok guys, the days of unlimited handouts from the US are coming to an end. It's just till the boomers die out, basically.
Right.
Stop voting, are too old to vote.
I have hope though for some boomers. I'm telling you, never before have I had so many like normie moms. So I do think that I'm very sympathetic. I know a lot of people aren't sympathetic, but I am, because I know how it is to kind of grow up in this bubble, essentially, where Israel's always the good guy, Palestinians are always the bad guys, Israel's always looking for ways to find peace, Palestinians aren't. And that's just what you're told. And you're literally just brainwashed your whole life. And this is the first time they've ever been exposed to any of it, right? They had no clue that we were as beholden to this foreign nation as we are. I think that has definitely woken people up to where like, this is weird. This is why are our foreign leaders immediately when they go on recess rushing over to kiss a wall? That's like, you're not even Jewish. Why are you there? That's weird. And then doing it multiple times, something I think is interesting, and I've been noticing it. Okay, I think there's another civil war going on behind the scenes. I'm just like saying this for the first time out loud, you guys. I think that there's a real civil war happening within the leadership of the GOP for the actual control. And it started happening before Charlie Kirk was murdered. And I used to actually think that JD Vance was a stooge. And y'all know I've gone on some pretty serious JD Vance, anti-Vance rants. Everybody knows how I feel about hillbilly elegy, all right?
Yes.
Janine, after we had that episode, she's like, wow, you really didn't like that book, did you? Because you guys probably missed it, but I went on like a 20ed-minute rant about how much I hated it.
It was really funny. Was that with Li Fang? The Li Fang episode?
No, it was with Zaid.
Oh, Zaid, yeah. I was like, wow. Hillbilly elegy.
But something I've noticed recently is that things have been happening behind the scenes. There has really been a battle. And it's interesting enough, when I was looking through the Han Shanady's tweets today, I came across one in which he said there is, and this was March 12th, I believe it was, 2025. So this was post the group chat leak, or do you guys remember the WhatsApp leak? I think it was, where
it's hard to keep track of all the group chat.
Right.
This was the one that Jonah Goldberg was on or whatever.
Right. He got added to it. Yeah. And then JD Vance was basically like, no, we shouldn't go, shouldn't bomb them or shouldn't be getting involved in Yemen. This isn't our problem. And so interestingly enough, this guy, I believe, posted, I got to look at the dates. He said, there is no scenario in which I would ever vote for JD Vance. Okay. So that was, I believe he said it was March 12th. I think that's actually before that group chat broke. If it is, that means that he's been told things behind the scenes, right? Yeah. But there are others who have really come out and started really attacking JD in a very weird way. People on the right, especially considering that most people considered him this kind of sellout, right? Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, right after he was nominated, the first thing he does, he goes on at Fox News that first night when he was announced. It was like the first night of the RNC. He goes on Fox News and he basically says, we should bomb Iran. It was like batshit crazy talk. I was like, and everyone was like, where the hell did this come from? I mean, freaking Nick Fuentes like dragged him over the coals for a couple of days for that crap. Right. Mm-hmm. And it was really weird. So I kind of had just written him off because I already wasn't a fan of Hillbilly Elegy. And if you guys want to, you can go back and watch that episode.
Yeah.
Reasons why I don't like Hillbilly Elegy. And but I kind of just dismissed him and I had kind of written him off until I'm watching this Lance Wallnau. And this is the guy, he's from the New Apostolic Reformation movement. He is the founder of the Seven Mountain Mandate, which we have talked about before. He, August 30th, I believe it was, did this very, very weird piece on his show. He has a podcast in which he really kind of goes after Vance and puts him on the side of basically the Antichrist, right? And argues that we have to defeat these evils that are trying to split MAGA. And it's a very weird piece. I've been wanting to upload it. It's a very weird monologue that he gives, but he essentially he's really talking to Charlie Kirk is what he's talking to, and talking about how the people aligned with JD Vance want to turn, they want to align with Satan and turn the U.S. against Israel. That's what he's essentially saying. And since then, I have noticed there is this strong undercurrent of anti-Vance rhetoric behind, and you have to be paying attention to it. And hopefully once you guys see this, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's interesting to me, what is going on there behind the scenes?
Yeah. That's how, it's crazy. We don't, we just see the tip of the iceberg and we think we know what's going on. And then you realize we really don't. Especially because these people, politicians are very comfortable just saying things that they don't believe at all.
Right. Yeah. And what we've seen, so on the flip side of that is you've seen this elevation of Marco Rubio, who again, to remind everyone, in 2015, Donald Trump said that Sheldon Adelson wanted to turn Marco Rubio into his perfect little puppet. Right?
Oh, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Isn't that's a perfect
so
little
cute.
puppet, you say?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, thank God that didn't happen, right? And so what we've seen is, and I've noticed this, is this kind of really strong push for, Marco Rubio is the greatest Secretary of State ever, which is like, calm down, okay? I don't know who the greatest. I think we've had a long string of shitty secretaries of state. I don't know who would be the best one, but I certainly wouldn't put Rubio up there.
No. No.
Yeah, I can't think of anything he's actually done other than Israel's bidding.
Exactly. He's put a lot of college kids behind bars, I guess, because they said free Palestine. So there's that. Right. But putting people in immigration detention for writing op-eds. Great use of our resources.
Right. Well, according to Matt Taibbi, it is because, Marco Rubio said that he had something more behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. Well, then it turned out he didn't. And Matt still hasn't apologized because he doesn't do that.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's something I think that people should pay attention to is really zone in on the anti-Vance pro-Rubio rhetoric, because that is what we're going to see. We're going to see a fight in 2028. Well, it's going to start in 2027. You're going to see a real fight. The good thing that I would say that Vance has on his side is, number one, because Trump is pumping Rubio right now, but that's going to get old for Trump. And there's a high probability that Rubio is going to end up pissing Trump off in some way, shape, or form. He's going to get fired. And then he's going to become irrelevant. It's not so easy to fire your vice president, right?
Yeah.
So I think Vance has been very smart. He's playing the long game here, but we'll see. I don't know. I think the Democrats are just in such disarray. They are like, you don't pay attention to Democrat politics, do you?
Not a lot. I mean,
I know.
On a sort of superficial level. I'm not that, I don't pay that much attention to politics, like a little bit, but generally speaking, I think it's all kind of bullshit. So until we get to the heart of the rot, which is like, number one, corporate influence on things, and then two, Israel influence on things. I'm kind of like, everyone's just a puppet of Israel and corporations anyway. So
right. And there's certainly a good argument to be made that JD Vance is just a puppet of Silicon Valley, right? And I do think that does come into play. And again, I'm not like some Vance fangirl by any means. Everyone knows that. I'm sorry, my dogs are going crazy.
I mean, he'd still be better than Rubio.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a freaking wet rag would be better than Rubio.
Yeah.
Oh, he's awful. He's just,
Rubio's,
he's demonic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't even imagine who the contenders will be on the Democrat side. I guess maybe AOC, although that seems a little premature.
No. I think Newsom. I think that's who they're going to line up eventually.
Yeah, well, he certainly is going for it. He's clearly. Maybe I do pay more attention to politics than I think I do.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will come out. I mean, there's Mom Donnie, but he'll probably be mayor at that time. It'll be two. I'm guessing at some point he might. He might end up with but.
Well, I don't actually think Mamdani is he actually can't run for
president. He's not a natural born citizen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he's gonna win though. Nuts. I didn't know this, but last night, 20 minutes into the debate, they asked about Israel. Was 50 minutes into the debate until they asked about housing. And apparently at no time did they address education.
Oh, wow. So they really...
when they say, why are you so obsessed with Israel? I don't know. Maybe
why are you guys... Like, I don't want to be obsessed with Israel. I really don't. I don't ever want to think about Israel again, actually.
Yeah. I know. I try to tell people all the time. I'm like, I don't know any Jews in real life. I would prefer actually never to talk about this ever again. I don't actually have any real opinions on Jews, like on a personal level whatsoever. I have noticed things, and I have noticed a weaponization of identity, and it's certainly been hurled at me more than once because I criticized this foreign government. Your inability to separate your identity from a foreign government isn't my freaking problem. Okay. Yeah. If you take it personal because I criticize this foreign government, if you see that as an attack on your identity, that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have psychiatrists for that.
They do. I'm sure sometimes I think maybe I need a psychiatrist so I can just go vent all of my, well, I don't know, not really, because I just do it all on Twitter, right?
Yeah, that's what Twitter's for.
That's anyways. So we will be back, I think, on Sunday. Well, not I think we will be back on Sunday. I have 3 podcasts on Sunday. Yes, hopefully with the guests. I know. I hope that the guests that we invited, I just wrote them earlier, so I hope that they respond. They're my favorite, and you'll see them. Yes. So otherwise, it'll just be us.
Yep.
Yes. And that's about it. Did you have anything else?
No, I think that's it. Good updates for Friday, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully I caught you guys all up. And I think most people already knew about the Civil War on the right, but if you didn't, now you do. And
have a